Welcome to Vegan Ultra. I'm your inspiration guide, Adam Gals, on this epic quest for health, hope, and happiness, in which I lose 150 pounds in 12 months while walking 3,000 miles to prove to myself, my family, and anyone watching on YouTube that anyone can become the ultra version of themselves if they give it a chance and are powered by plants. Today is the first of a new series where I go through my favorite life-changing recipes that have helped me to lose 85 pounds in 5 months with another 65 pounds to go. So today we'll be introducing part one of a two-part mini-series on cinnamon soy milk, one of my favorite recipes. But first, I want to go through and answer a question that I've gotten from several subscribers and family members about how can you tell whether or not something is a healthy or whole food. So this is basically what I have learned from my certificate training at the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies at Cornell University. I did both the 30-hour plant-based nutrition course and the 35-hour food and sustainability certificate to get a good baseline. And of course, I've also read dozens of studies as well as books from Dr. Greger, various podcasts, YouTube videos from Physicians Committee, Nutrition Facts, Mike the Vegan, and so on. All of it fact-based. And of course, yes, Plant Munchers and Dr. Gil Carvalho's Nutrition Made Simple. Wonderful channel. Definitely check that out. And here is basically what I have put together for rules of thumb for determining if something is healthy or whole. From Cornell, American Heart Association, USDA, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Greger, and Dr. Barnard. First, is anything being added to the food, or has anything been subtracted from the food that would reduce its health? Has anything that been added only increased its health? Basically, is it minimally processed or not processed? Obviously, for example, we can tell an apple is not processed, but something like tempeh or tofu, minimally processed, this is considered part of a healthy whole food diet. Is the ingredients list simple? Basically, is it a few ingredients that you can recognize, or is it 50 to 70 ingredients from words that you have to get a degree in biochemistry to comprehend? Is there a lot of added sugar? USDA recommending less than 10% of calories from added sugar. And from Dr. Barnard, is there a lot of saturated fat? Because even some plant-based foods, for example, can use lots of coconut oil, which is 90% saturated fat. American Heart Association recommending less than 10% of calories from saturated fat. From Dr. Greger, is the carbs to fiber ratio 5 or less? This is a good rule of thumb. Though, of course, just a rule of thumb doesn't apply to necessarily every food, but we'll see an example with the soy milk. Is the ratio of potassium to sodium above 1 or more? This is from the World Health Organization and the USDA recommending more than 2. And finally, from Dr. Campbell, is the food other than fruit, which tends to be around 5% protein, is it generally 10% or more protein? If it basically is a whole food, it tends to be at least 10%. So now let's consider this Silk organic unsweetened soy milk, which Dr. Barnard considers to be a part of a whole food diet. Well, let's take a look at the ingredients list. It is basically filtered water, number 1, organic soybeans, and then 2% added vitamins and minerals. So a simple, is there anything being added here? Yes, some beneficial fortifications. Is anything being taken away? No. So passing number 1. Now let's take a look at here. You can see a bit closer, and let's actually go through it. We have, of course, there is a lot of fat, but that's natural for soy. 0.5 grams of saturated fat. This is coming in at around 7% saturated fat. But take a look at polyunsaturated fat, 2.5 monounsaturated fat, 1. This is the healthy plant fats. And here, basically from Harvard, this is 40% of the calories from polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fat. The more of these kinds of healthy plant fats you eat, the lower your mortality risk. So those are certainly very good. Low in sodium. How about added sugar? No added sugar. Carbs to fiber ratio from Dr. Greger, 2. So that passes. How about potassium over sodium? 300 versus 80, nearly 4-1, or nearly double the optimal ratio according to the USDA. So this is passing all of the tests. Thank you so much for joining me in part 1 of this introductory series to some of my favorite Blue Zone whole food vegan recipes that have helped me to lose 85 pounds in 20 weeks, on my way to losing 150 pounds in a year, while becoming the Captain America version of myself, to prove to everybody and inspire everybody on how you can try this and become the healthiest, happiest version of yourself if you just give it a chance and are powered by plants. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video to help other people on YouTube, and consider at least trying some of these tips, because this really is science-based magic and nutrition-fueled sorcery that can help you to improve your life, your health, and even start building your own personal utopia.